When Doctor Who was revived for a second series, Russell T Davies began the tradition of a Christmas special, yearly adding an episode of the series' production. The problem is he couldn't get more money for the extra episodes, so Dr. Light episodes were conceived as a solution. Some were great, like Blink and Turn Left, and some sucked. Love and Monsters, I'm Talking to You. In Series 4, they had to do 2 specials for the production. Due to Tennant leaving, and they're not going to be a Series 5 the next year, but instead a series of 4 specials, the first added to that series production. When this happened, they decided to make a companion Light story due to the Dr. Light focusing on the companion, which we will look at this companion Light story today with Midnight. Midnight was written by Russell T Davies, directed by Alice Troughton, produced by Phil Collinson, and originally broadcast on Saturday, the 14th of June, 2008. We open on the planet Midnight, where the companion Donna Noble, a temp from 2009, played by comedian Catherine Tate, is relaxing at a spa. She gets a call from the doctor who wants her to come with him to see the Sapphire Waterfalls, saying that it'll only take 8 hours. He tells her to be careful and promises to take her to the anti-gravity restaurant later and boards the bus. Everyone boards the bus, and they're all given complimentary headphones, video game devices, and peanuts by the stewardess, played by Ricky Aola. The doctor introduces himself to Professor Hobbs, played by Patrick Troughton's son David Troughton, and Dee Dee Blasco, his student assistant, played by Aisha and Antoine, who doesn't want to bother him. Across the aisle is Sky Silvestri, played by Leslie Sharp, who is reading a book. A few rows behind are the Canes, Vale, Biff, and Jethro, played by Lindsay Coulson, Daniel Ryan, and Colin Morgan, respectively. The stewardess announces that all of the safety procedures, including that there's no oxygen on Midnight, and has the driver Joe explain the trip. Joe announces that they will be taking a detour due to a fallen cliff, and the bus takes off. The stewardess starts playing in-flight entertainment, which is very annoying and loud, so the doctor sonics the system, destroying the entertainment. The Cranes don't know what to do, and the doctor says that they just talk to each other. Sometime later, everyone has warmed up to each other a little, and we get to learn more about our characters. Dee Dee has a crush on Hobbs. Sky's alone because she divorced her wife, who moved across the galaxy, and she's started traveling. Hobbs gives a presentation on how Midnight and its system has no life, and no one came until the Leisure Palace and the bus stopped, and then the bus surprisingly stops. Hobbs is concerned, considering the bus has never stopped. He's taken this trip 14 times already. And the stewardess has them return to their seats. Paranoia starts setting in, and when the stewardess explains that they need to stabilize the engine. The doctor goes to the pit and explains to the driver Joe and mechanic Claude that there's nothing wrong because the engines wouldn't need stabilizing. The doctor says, put up the shields, bring down the shields to look outside, and we get an amazing view, the first to see this piece of ground, and the mechanic Claude thinks she sees a shadow when the shields close, running towards them. Sky is stressed that she'll miss her schedule, and Dee Dee knows that something must be wrong, because her father was a mechanic. The professor lets slip that about an oxygen concern, making everyone be paranoid over it and argue, but the doctor has Dee Dee explain that the air is in a circular flow, so they could survive for 10 years. The doctor says that everything's fine, but then there's a knocking, going around the ship. Sky becomes paranoid that something's out there, but Hobbs says nothing could be outside. The doctor takes his stethoscope, and as the knocking gets to the door and the ceiling, Mr. Kane checks to see if the door is secure by knocking 3 times, which is repeated by whatever's out there. Sky breaks down at the stewardess while the doctor knocks 4 times, and it answers. There's an extreme tension as everyone breaks down while the knocking intensifies. The Sky backs into a corner, and the knocking just follows her. Suddenly, the bus is rocked and the lights go out. Everyone recovers as a monitor behind them flickers an image of Rose. Everyone goes to get a torch, but Sky, who's in the fetal position with overturned seats. The stewardess opens the engine room, and outside is the elements. The cabin and its 2 occupants are gone and dead. The doctor assures them that everything will get out of this because there is a rescue coming. Jethro brings up Sky not turning around, and the doctor asks if she can hear him, and asks her to turn around. Jethro realizes that the noise has stopped, and whatever it is gone. Sky turns around to reveal chilling, non-blinking eyes. She scans the room, and when the doctor talks to her, she eerily repeats perfectly what anyone says, getting everyone terrified. Whatever it is, it's no longer Sky. The doctor comes to the conclusion that it's absorbing their information. He tests this by rapidly repeating the square root of pi, and it follows perfectly. Everyone starts to talk in jumbled mess, and it repeats perfectly what they're saying. The lights come back on, and everyone tries to relax on Hobbs' suggestion, and it repeats exactly what, at the same time, sending everyone closer to the edge of insanity. The doctor tries to randomly saying things to trip it up, including randomly putting together words, and when he says the alphabet, he stops on L, it goes on to Q. Even the doctor's humor starts to become creepy when it's eerily repeated. Everyone gets to the back, and Dee Dee recites a verb from Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market. We must not look at goblin men. We must not buy their fruits. Who knows upon what soil they fed their hungry, thirsty roots? And before she stops, it repeats. Jethro thinks that it went for Sky because of her fear. The doctor says that Hobbs is wrong with his theories about Midnight's life, and that they should all just be quiet. The stewardess says that they should throw it out. Biff breaks down, and Dee Dee says that they could throw it out easily, but the doctor suggests, what if it's trying to discover life, and what it's found as possible murderers? But they all say that they want it gone. Hobbs says that they're going too far in deciding to murder, and Jethro, the only teenager who's pretty irrational, agrees. Everyone starts questioning the doctor, even Jethro, all thinking that he's a psychopath and thinking he's a murderer. They call him clever. He calls himself clever, making everyone want to throw him out too. He tries to pass his name off as John Smith, and they yell at him more when it's repeating stops. They realize that it only will repeat what the doctor says now, being the most clever. The doctor's voice quiets down from its, while its becomes larger, and the doctor promises to help it. They both say, "Do we have a deal?" But it speaks first. It seems to let Sky go, but Dee Dee isn't convinced because it didn't pass over. Hobbs helps Sky up, and she thanks him. She says it was cold and apologizes for scaring them. Dee Dee is against and thinks it's still inside Sky, and everyone is confused. The professor says that it might be true, using only what he's seen. Sky shows her true colors by trying to convince everyone to throw him out, and explains that that all it wants is warmth and blood. The stewardess says to let Dee Dee explain, and she explains it's draining the doctor, making Jethro question them. Hobbs snaps at her, doing what the creature wants. Sky starts calmly talking to them, making them be sort of hypnotized, then using the doctor, and when Biff says to throw the doctor out, which makes everyone follow, trying to throw him out, but Sky starts saying two things that she would never say if she was regular. Molto bene and Alonzi are the doctor's catchphrases, because the stewardess realizes, because the doctor said Alonzi to her earlier in the episode, and grabs Sky, throwing her out, sacrificing herself to save them. Everyone lets the doctor go, and he breathes a sigh of relief. We see everyone stunned, not knowing what to say. Cut to 20 minutes later, when the rescue vehicle comes, and everyone realizes that they didn't even know the stewardess's name. When the doctor gets back, Donna hugs him, asking what he thinks it was, and he replies that they don't know. She wants him to tell them, and just let the planet turn in silence. The beautiful, silent blue planet with all of its diamonds, sapphires, and jewels. Final thoughts? The only word that comes to mind when thinking of this story is horror. That's what it truly is, a horror story. It plays with the fear of the unknown and the fear of having no escape. The entire guest cast carries the story, playing as average people thrown into a situation that would terrify anyone, and reacting as such. The best part about the creature is that we don't even know what it is to this day, and probably won't know ever, making it terrifying to think that this could happen again if they kept the tours open, and anyone that had to take a detour. Also, considering that there's only a 4-person body count, it's great that this can be so terrifying without a lot of death. I mean, the only bad thing about this episode is that the shoehorned in Rose cameo on the bus to sort of further this weird story arc of the season that wasn't really an arc. All I can say is just go watch this for yourself. So I give Doctor Who Midnight a 97% for it being truly terrifying and only having just a shoehorned cameo of Rose Tyler. I can't recommend the story enough, and it's available in the complete 4th series box set released in 2008 in all regions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with the 11th Doctor and dinosaurs on a spaceship.